That's great. Okay, so we have entertainment, and so we have a lot of stuff to do. And the first person I want to bring up is Max. Max, you come up here and give your workshop. And let's give a hand for Max.
Hey, Max! Yeah, Max! Woo, woo! Yeah!
Wow!
Yeah!
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Well, maybe good, yes.
It's better today.
Well, it's supposed to be a workshop. I don't know exactly how we will do that. I think I give up first the subject I would like to talk about or discuss, so that you get an overview what I'm going to do. So, can I put it here?
Max, move it over so she will be in
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, you
It's
got
better to
that.
write, even though I'm left-handed, it's better here. Good. So, one subject, we will pick up that at the end. That will be the OT missions. And this is actually the reason why we are here at all. All the Russians came and the Germans and Swiss came primarily for this OT mission. And Erika will talk about at the end of my part. So you get introduced, and also some Russian will give you some briefing about that. Then I would like to talk about the SDSS. These 4 letters are standing for Stichting, which is Dutch, meaning foundation. True Source Scientology. And this is a website, actually .nl, for Netherlands, not Switzerland. We have chosen that for legal reasons. And that's mainly about materials. It's a very important subject, and it breaks free actually the slavery, or it breaks their slavery from the church upon the free zone. Wow. Wow. Then I would like to talk about training camps. That's a very important part. This is actually the way we stay connected. That means all the organizations we are having are connected via camps. Then I would like to give a short note about our new house. That's German now, okay. house, it's all the same. Doesn't matter. And maybe I also would like to talk a little bit about Div 6. This is also something which is really I take care for, because I see there a real weak point, especially in the free zone, in Scientology, also in the church, of course, that it's really failed. And thanks to the bad reputation the word Scientology got, it didn't make it easier.
Could you repeat what point that was that failed?
Div 6.
Div 6. Div 6 has failed.
Yes.
Yeah. When I see how Scientology was expanding in the 60s, 70s, we are far from that. We are absolutely far from that. We are just a few single groups slowly expanding, including our organization. I cannot say, I mean, I have seen this videotape on YouTube from Bob Mongello about Riverside, and there were 180 staffs, a mission. Get that right? And now we're having a convention here, and I see rarely 100 people. So, yeah, that's the statistic, that's it. Let's face it. Okay, now let's first talk about the materials, about the copyrights, SDSS. Because we have been really suppressed by the Church of Scientology by the copyrights for many years, and when there was anything, they instantly came and said, you have infringed copyrights and you go to jail. And the pressure was incredible. I mean, I remember those times. Sometimes I myself, our org went PTS on that, and we were so afraid, so terrified that we took all the materials down in the basement and have hidden it and so on. Then after a few days we got to sense and said, what's going on here? What are we doing? We can't deliver it without the materials and so on. We have to go on. And in the year 1997, when we came to Russia, it was a big success, of course, because we had suddenly a huge amount of people who wanted to do the bridge. And the Russian didn't have considerations. They just started to translate it. All what they got to the hands and all translated possible, they just translated and started to distribute books and packs and everything. And you know, when you are a small group, you can hide yourself, you can protect it, you can say, okay, we sneak around everything, so nobody knows that we are infringing copyrights, and we don't make any invoices, we don't do this, we don't do that, so no one can see us, perceive it, and there are no evidences to go to court with you. But that's when you are a small group. With every person you get more, the risk that the church can send in a plant got bigger. If you have an org, let me say, with 100 staffs, you hardly know anything going on there anymore with the people. So there can be a plant in there at any moment. And we were so terrified by that. We had all kinds of ideas, solutions how to get along with that. You know, we had a triangle, as we called that. There was a library set up for research reasons. That was a legal institution. And then the student was sent by the organization to this library, and he can lend there a pack, and he makes a copy for himself, and with this pack he goes to the classroom. So the org was out of the attack line from the church, because the student did it by himself, and that was not really permitted, but hardly to accuse or how to start a court case with that, you know. So we get along with that, but that was complicated. Can you imagine you are an organization, big, and you want to be professional, and then you come with this kind of setup? Ha ha. It's ridiculous. So we came to Russia, and they started to copy everything and to translate everything, and even asking money for it. It was not possible other way. And when we came back, and so after a few months later, or the next mission we had been there, I got somehow afraid. Now, oh God, what is the church now going to do with me? Do they file a court case now against me and so, and they have some plans, as we had always, I mean, we were always attacked by OSA all the time. That was a non-stop action from OSA. And nothing happened. But still we were terrified. It was really bad. And I knew I have to handle this situation. But how? And more data were collected, and I myself got a copy of a settlement the AAC Langenthal, one of the first organizations in Switzerland, did when they were attacked by the church. But still to this day I don't know if a court case was filed or not, or if it was just a letter of a lawyer who threatened them to death. So they made a settlement that for any infringement they are going to pay 5,000 Swiss francs. That means if you copy Mel 1C, 5,000 Swiss francs. If you copy anything else, 5,000 Swiss francs. And if you copy it 3 times, 15,000. That was more or less the deal. And that was, yeah, I mean, 5,000 Swiss francs, that's a lot of money for a single infringement. And then I took that to me, I don't remember exactly about 10 years ago, and I read it again and said, oh, let's confront it, what exactly happened there? And then I started to read it, and I had, you won't believe it, I had to read it probably 10 times, and I didn't believe it, what I was reading. The accused party was given 20,000 Swiss francs. The accused party, not the church. And I even asked Ottfried, he's a lawyer in copyright law, and says, please explain me now. Do I understand that correctly? I didn't believe my eyes. Really, I mean, they got 20,000 francs, and they were the accused. Oh, please give me a break.
I love it.
What's about that, you know? And then that started to make the bells ringing in my head. There must be something wrong. And there's quite some stuff, I cannot mention that now, all out of mind, but the copyrights in the church are not that safe in the hands of the church as they always pretend. And believe me, it's a lot of pretension. And, well, we knew we should really attack the church, and we should we should sort that out with the church. What's going on here, you know? But the land in which we would have to file a court case or do something is the United States, and that is about our budget that we can afford. That goes into millions, if not 10 millions, because it's going back and forth, and you know, that's becoming a big issue, really above our budget. So we were starting to think, how can we solve that? Because, you know, then we started, it was probably 6-7 years ago, don't remember exactly. We started with the project 0 to 48. Probably you hear about that. We made it nicely set up in Panama. We thought that's safe. We can do that somehow. We were still somehow in the we were still anonymous. We tried to hide ourselves. We were not that mutig. What's mutig? Brave. We were not that brave in those years yet. And well, this page was probably 2 or 3 weeks online, and it was gone. So the matter there is this the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, this DMCA, you know about probably that. And that's a law worldwide which says if you put anything in the internet which is infringing copyrights, you just have to prove that you are the owner of the copyright and send a letter to the server, and that goes off from the web within about 48 hours, and it's incredibly efficient and fast. So this is why this 0 to 48 disappeared that fast. And so we had no chance to use the internet for that purpose. Later, someone else picked up the idea of 0 to 48. We were supporting that in the beginning very much financially, that it was set up and it was an FTP server, so that could be done. That was not visible by the search engine of the internet, so we did that. But still, that was not satisfying, not at all, and didn't solve the problem we had, because we really wanted to make facts. You know, still today, the church is accusing the people that we are infringing copyrights and making us wrong and so on. And we got, when we have been in Los Angeles, now we got a stupid leaflet on our cars that we are infringing copyrights and so on. It's such a boring game. And, well, after all those materials, Scientology materials, the materials of L. Ron Hubbard, they are going to be public domain anyway, sooner or later. So it's around the year 2055 or 2057, they will be public domain according current law. But that's still almost 50 years from now, and I don't want that. So we have to think, what are we going to do now? How to overcome this, to end PTS, or DPTS ourselves from this copyright threat. And that's why we set up the SDSS, and we said, okay, we can make a web page which is clearly stating our purposes and where you can order materials, but the materials are sent by email to you. So that's not infringing copyrights. I mean, well, infringing copyright is something else. But the church cannot send a cobrinogram. Do you know what that is? Cobrinogram. You know Cobrin? Mm-hmm. Cobrin is a lawyer of the church. It's a name, she, Cobrin, Helen Cobrin, I think. And when someone was putting something on the internet, she sent a cobrinogram. So, we don't have the materials online, so she can send as many cobrinograms as she wants. Nothing is going to happen, we're still online. So we went online with this page in the last year, in February, and nothing happened. 1 year. Well, we got then a letter by a lawyer in February this year, and we got another letter in March, also by a lawyer, another lawyer, and we got another letter by another lawyer from Germany, and we handled those letters. But that happened in February, it happened in March, April, and that's it, I think. And now we are close to Christmas, and nothing happened. And, I mean, in all those years when we were preparing for that, when I was evaluating the situation, I recognized there was never a sentence spoken regarding the copyright. Never, ever. It never came to the court, really. It was always handled by settlements. So, that made me think, I mean, well, there's a lot of things I can talk about these copyrights which are strange. For example, the books are no more copyright by L. Ron Hubbard. They are copyright by L. Ron Hubbard Library. And they changed the books. They had to say, well, they were not correctly transcribed. There were a lot of mistakes by all those people in those years, and they were so PTS to L. Ron Hubbard. They made so many mistakes. We had to rewrite the books. Too bad. So, quite a lot of outpoints. So, what I can tell you now, I mean, it's not really handled fully now. We do not have absolute facts. But I can tell you, you can use these materials. Don't worry about it. You can copy it, you can apply it. I think you even can reprint books. There will be no danger, I think. Yes?
Did I read on the net that the copyrights, they let them lapse and didn't renew sometime in the 80s or something like that, the church? And that would be applicable to anything that doesn't have LRH, the new books, as part of the title, the way they did that. Is that correct? So you can use the old stuff without any worry?
Yes, there is something. I'm not fully in that.
Repeat
The question is, if the church failed to renew the copyright, is this correct?
Yes, 1980s.
And there is something, but I'm not a lawyer, I'm not fully in that, but it is something that they changed the copyright and you had to register the copyrights again till, I think, 1978, and because the copyright was changed, and that means that actually all the materials up to 1960 or 62, something the like, are public domain anyway. But the church is still pretending they have the copyrights. I mean, when you have something on the internet, they instantly go there and say, we have the copyrights, take it off, and they send a big bunch of paper to them, and that's it. And of course, they also come to your house and say, we have the copyrights, and I've seen, it's really a sad story, I've seen so many auditors and centers failing because they were accused of copyright infringements. They were terrified. I hear stories, I mean, they were so terrified it's hardly to get that to words. And they just stopped. I mean, those people from the AAC Langenthal, they just stopped and they signed that, and since then they don't take the word Scientology in their mouth anymore. That's it. And I'm pretty sure they're not the only one. I have seen other people who made stupid contracts because they were terrified by the copyright law. So, but I think we are really here on the way out. We're almost done with that. We don't even have big problems to hide it anymore. I mean, the church probably has investigated this page up and down, and if they could do something about it, they would have done. Yes, do you have a question with that subject?
What is the webpage address?
This is actually SDSS NL
Use your other pen.
for Netherlands.
Use your other pen and go over that.
So Max,
NL is Netherlands, Dutch.
What does the initial stand for? STSS?
This is Stichting, which means it's Dutch, meaning foundation. And this is True Source Scientology. So what we want to put there are really original materials. Our intention is to get on that page anything from L. Ron Hubbard, so you can download it, not only get it by email. The email is just limited in size. I mean, I cannot send you a 100 megabyte email. That's not possible. Well, it is theoretically it's possible, but as you have to send it as an attachment, but you have to send it when it's that big. You can divide it, but then it has to be put together, and that becomes complicated. Yeah, Tatiana.
Did you consider sending through email just a private link to download, and then do the download directly from the internet, but not published broadly?
That would also be a possibility, but we are.
Then you are not limited by the size of email. You just email the link, and then click the link, and get downloading directly from the internet. There's no limitation.
Yes, but don't worry, we are going a step further anyway. This is actually almost past what we have now on the page, so we will go to the next step, but that takes a little bit of programming and continuation there. Gorky?
is this waiting finally for a court case that would declare that the church does not have copyrights up to a certain date? You know, is that what it's waiting for a final? I mean, we're not gonna slow up anyway, but would that be the final resolution?
Well, yes, we were actually giving a bait. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
we did.
Max, two things. One, I want to acknowledge and admire what a magnificent job that you have done there. And I want to give you, like, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
The next thing I want to say is that there is an OT solution to this, that I have actually worked with people that were being attacked by the church, trying every physical universe way of handling it without success. In fact, it would get worse. I sat down in an experiment with two sprinklers applying certain OT material, and all of the attacks vanished with nothing happening in the physical universe. And I want to talk to you about that.
Okay, let's do that later, yes. Thank you. There was another question? Yes.
Well, you mentioned going back to the old books, which is, to me, is what we should do anyway. Are you aware that there is floating around 3 CDs? It's called the tech materials, and it's got the books on it. Somebody a long time ago scanned them or whatever, and these CDs just, you know, you can find them if you ask around, somebody's got a copy of them, but nobody seems to be going after those at all. So I think your idea of going back to the old books has a lot of merit.
Yes, I don't know what to say now here to that.
I guess I was wondering if you were aware of the CDs and if you had ever encountered them in Europe and if there was a ruling on that.
There's a lot of materials around. I mean, 3Ds is nothing, I tell you. We are talking today in the subject of terabytes.
Okay.
So.
So what I've seen is probably just a little.
Oh yes, that is just a footnote. Yes.
Were you aware that in Sweden there was an official ruling by the government that Scientology materials were not copyrighted because they were religious documents?
Yes, the question was about Sweden, that there was a court case that the government ruled that religious materials are not cannot be copyrighted. But that's Sweden. That's just one country, and still the DMCA is probably, we cannot deal with that there anyway. That's still the problem of the internet. So this is why we went to Netherlands, which is also very liberal in regard of religion. And we know the Dutch or the Netherlands law was actually pro freedom of speech. There has been this Karin Spank case. This is why we have chosen Netherlands. So, and this is also when you go to the site, religious freedom is a big part, a big issue on that side. Because we are a religion and this material should not be copyrighted at all. Not at all. Yeah, Mary?
Well, we have the Life Enhancement Center in Coeur d'Alene, Washington, and we were the Life Improvement Center before that, and we changed the name because the church came after us to, claiming that they owned the words Life Improvement Center. Now, they want to own the dictionary, basically. So I think what they were trying to do was get us into a court fight or some kind of legal battle to hold on to our name. And all we did was just change it to Life Enhancement Center, which we like a whole lot better anyway. So then they couldn't go in and say, oh, no, we also own the word life, because this could have gone on forever. But I think a lot of it is a scare tactic to try to draw you into a fight so you don't give up. Well, I don't really think it's true that they own the word Life Improvement Center, because that's a dictionary phrase. But their power comes from intimidating people into having to spend a whole lot of money and getting lawyers and DevT and distraction and everything else to fight for something. So it's, I think in that sense, there's no legal standing, but that's how they, you know, kind of intimidate. So,
There's tons, we put life improvement up and Coeur d'Alene or anywhere. There's tons of them. It doesn't, there's drug rehabilitation programs
Yes.
called that, there's tons of them.
yeah, exactly. So it's more scare tactics than anything else.
They can have
Definitely,
it.
definitely, yes. Eric, first.
The main point, what gives me as an auditor and CS decides when I have an auditor who wants to make a new group, who wants to expand Scientology. Then he says, and what's regarding the copyright? Then I can say to him, look, when you have a student, send him to the site, let him download the material, and you have nothing to do with it. And he is, the auditor, he or she, is just free. It's a solution for auditors and supervisors. Because they are just people, they want to deliver. They don't want to become a lawyer and acquainted with all the laws. It's confusing for them. And it's very easy to say to them, look, when Fred wants to do the solo course, he can download the materials of the solo course. You have nothing to do with it. You deliver just the supervision.
Yeah, I forgot to say so. It's really the course banks are there. You just can download it and print it out.
Understood.
Now
Thank you.
we end with the copyright issue here and with the SDSS. Just a final note. We are a little bit depending on donations on that side. So if you want to donate something, go to this page and give a little bit. We'll be happy about that. Thank you.